Okay, so welcome along to our session on preparing for the virtual fair for autumn 2021 on how to make a good impression at the fair. My name is Eilis Spence. I'm an Employability Advisor with the Employability and Careers Department at Ulster. And yeah, welcome along. Hopefully I'll be able to kind of give you some good tips on how to interact at the fair. And like I said, if there's any issues or any questions rather, or anything needs clarified, please pop them in the chat box. So today we're going to be looking at just very briefly telling you when the fairs are on and how to register for it. This was covered on Monday's session, which is available on our YouTube channel, Careers at Ulster. So if you want more detail on that, you can go and watch that. Video on YouTube. We go through that in quite a lot of detail, and then we're going to talk about kind of effectively engaging with employers at the fair, kind of giving you more of like the setup of what it's going to be like, so you understand in advance what the fair itself, how it is if it's as it's being run virtually. Some of you may have experience of attending a virtual fair before, but for a lot of people this will be the first time, and with different platforms it can be it can vary as well too. So we want to make sure that you're going in as prepared as possible prior to next week. And then just a couple of tips, top tips as we kind of move through the slides as well too. So just to begin, and just maybe a reminder that Future Jobs and Opportunities Week is what we're calling the week as a whole. And within that, we will have our different fairs, and we'll also have our skills boosting program. So if you just have a look at the slide there, you'll see the breakdown of when each of those are happening. So we have our skills boosting program, which I'll tell you a little bit about in a wee minute. But basically it is a suite of programs that are taking place from Monday right through to Thursday, with the majority of sessions taking place on the Monday and Tuesday morning as well too. Then as part of Future Jobs and Opportunities Week, we are running 3 individual fairs. Okay, the first of those will be the Graduate Virtual Fair, which is for all disciplines. Okay, and this is taking place on Tuesday the 12th from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. And with all of these fairs and all the skills boosting programs, these are all being facilitated on the Handshake platform. Okay. On Wednesday, the 13th of October, we're running our placement and internship virtual fair. And this is geared towards second years, first and second years, who are completing computing, engineering, or construction type degrees. Okay, so people who are looking for placement or work experience opportunities in the computing, engineering, or construction sectors, this will be mostly geared towards them. Definitely go on and have a look at the employers. There will maybe some degrees that kind of will slightly fall into that as well too. Maybe not quite on the surface, but there will be some. And then on Thursday, the 14th of October, we have placement and internship virtual fair, and that's for all other disciplines as well too. And they are both running from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Okay, so I just want to kind of really quickly show you our web page for Opportunities Week. You can see the URL is just at the bottom corner there of the slide. But just bear with me a wee second, just while I change over to the. I just want to show you. Our web page. Okay. Okay, so this is the web page for Future Jobs and Opportunities Week. As you can see here, all the information that you need for the day will be on here. So just a bit of a description at the top, and then some information about our partners, who are Allstate, Almac, and Deloitte. Then we have a bit about our skills boosting program. So our skills boosting program is basically to kind of complement the virtual careers fairs that are happening next week. And basically we're having a load of different sessions across a wide range of employability topics, and you can book into any of these. So I'll just click into this just to give you a flavour of the kinds of things that are involved with that. So as I was saying at the earlier on, most of these are taking place on the Monday. So we've covered different topics such as like ultimate CV makeover. Workplace essentials, are you ready? A lot of people may be going into workplace for the first time, or more of a professional workplace for the first time. So just some kind of top tips there. I'm not going to read through all of these, but there's some fantastic ones. So definitely have a look, click on them, and you find a bit more of a description about them. And you'll also find the booking link and the joining link for the time as well too. But yeah, things like develop your communication and confidence in the world of work. I mean, every job you apply for looks for good communication skills, and confidence is something that probably a lot of us could deal with a lot more of. So we want to make sure again that you're prepared not only for just going to the fairs, but you're prepared for the ultimate kind of goal, which is finding work as well too. The Careers Cafe, this is a new initiative we started running in the past year or so. We're slowly kind of giving it a bit of momentum, but we're doing one of these as part of we're doing a couple of these actually as part of the skills boosting sessions, where we're having students who are either on placement or have just completed a placement year coming in and talking about their experiences. It's a bit less formal. You know, there's an opportunity for you to get chatting to them and, you know, kind of build up your own network and kind of get to know your fellow students, and then find out about people who've been in your shoes maybe a year or two previous as well too. So definitely check those out. You can see if I scroll on, there's loads there that you can look into, you know, even thinking ahead past the graduate fair. You know, we've talked about your CV, but also things like your interview skills. If it's something you want to kind of find out a bit more about, then there'll be an interview skills work session happening on Monday evening. Goes right through Tuesday morning, so you can see a wee bit less happening Tuesday, and then Wednesday and Thursday is a couple of sessions as well too. So that's the skills boosting program. So that's just again something that's going alongside the fairs. Then we have details for the graduate virtual fair. You can register there, or the link will take you into the registration on Handshake, and same with the placement and internship, the two different fairs there. Okay. Some other things, we've got some of the events there and some other video content and stuff on that webpage, so definitely check it out. Okay. Stop sharing that one for now. Are there any questions about that? Okay, and really quickly, I'm just going to show you also, I'm going to also just show you a really a short video that we have, which does a demo. Now it does it on like a phone screen. So there is an app as well too, which you can download Handshake onto, but you can also use it on your desktop obviously as well too. So I'm just going to show you a really quick video. I'll put the link in here now just while I put this video on for you, Reese, okay? So I'm going to put the video on, and when I'm doing that, I'll share the link for you too, okay? Okay, sorry, went into an ad straight away there on YouTube. So there, that was just a bit of a, sorry, let's put slides up. That was just a bit of a quick demo of if you were to do it on your phone, and kind of taking you through step by step. You can do that video again on our YouTube channel, which is Careers at Ulster as well too. Excuse me, sorry. I'm not going to take you into Handshake and show you how to register because I did that on Monday's session, but just a screen grab there of how to register for the fair if you haven't already. So whether you are, it doesn't matter if it's not the graduate fair, if it's one of the placement fairs, you just go into events. So go into Handshake, go into events. You can filter it down to see the careers fair. There seem to be coming up for me anyway at the top anyway, so hopefully you should be able to navigate to it fairly easily. You will see like a banner at the top, so either say graduate recruitment fair or placement and internship fair, and then you just click the blue button then and the register button, and that will be you registered. It'll prompt you then to start building your sessions and scheduling them into it, and you can explore the different employers within there as well too. So hopefully that will be kind of fairly intuitive as you go into that. But again, if you need more information, you can either watch that short video that I just showed you again on our YouTube channel, or you can watch my more detailed webinar, which I did earlier this week, which is also on the YouTube channel as well too. Okay, I'm just going to go back to that slide. So basically, with the virtual fair, it's not the same as walking into a big assembly hall and going around different stands and having a bit of a chit chat with the representatives there. This fair is different. Okay, you are required to create your own schedule. You won't be going into like a fair where you can just go in and click on different stands. Basically what we're doing is there will be available sessions which you can start booking now if you haven't already. More sessions probably will be added closer to the time as well too. So it's the employers are in charge of putting in their own sessions. So their timing, that some may have put some on already, some maybe just haven't done that yet, and they may add more closer to the time as well too. So you're responsible for creating your own schedule, okay? Nobody else is going to do it for you, so you decide what your day is going to look like at the fair. For some people, they may attend some sessions, some may attend lots and lots of sessions which last the whole time. You can come in and out of the fair as well too, so if you're just attending the sessions that you've booked into. But what are the sessions? So the sessions will either be a one-to-one video session with an employer, okay, so it's one-on-one with you and a representative from an employer, and or a 30-minute group video session. So a bit like what we're doing here. So on Handshake, employers will have their available sessions detailed on the available sessions tab, okay? So if you go into that, once you've registered, there's 3 tabs at the top. One of those is available sessions. You click onto that and you will be able to then scroll through the employers, and under each employer it will have a description of them, and then it will also have a list of either their one-to-one sessions and or their group sessions as well too. So this will include time slots. So if you go in for a one-to-one session, what you will see is time slots, and these will be 10-minute time slots, okay? And what you do is you simply click on that, and that means that you have booked that time slot. So it could be from 1 to 1:10, then there might be one from 1:10 to 1:20, etc., etc. Alongside that, they'll also have the name of the representative that you will be meeting with, okay? So that will be their job title. So for some, it might be, maybe graduates who were sitting in your footsteps, last year or the year before and have gone through maybe some of the graduate program with them. They could be people who, do a placement with them as well too. They might be somebody from their HR team, for example, or there could be somebody from, somebody who kind of as one of their managers. It just depends on who the company is sending along on the day. So it's important just to note who it is that you're going to be talking to as well. And their job title, really, okay? For the group sessions on Handshake, you'll have a description of what the session is and what's involved, okay? Telling you kind of what they're going to be covering in the session. They'll also have the names of the speaker or speakers. What I've found from looking at some that are on there, there's multiple speakers happening, and they'll also have information about how this is targeted to, so maybe what particular subjects, what year groups, and they also have on there what they're hiring for as well too, so what jobs that they have in there. You can also see that if you click into the individual Employers as well too, they have their own like web page, or profile rather is a better word, on Handshake, so you can go on and see what they're hiring for as well too, and I would recommend that you do that in advance of next week. So once you have browsed through the employer's availability at the fair, you can start booking your sessions. So your book sessions will then appear on your schedule, which will be on like the right hand side. You can also click on the tab for that as well too. And in order for you to kind of access this on the day, you simply click on a join button at the time and you'll enter the virtual room. Okay, so for one-to-ones, this will be a bit like a video call, so like a Skype or a Zoom. You'll need your camera on and your mic on, so just want to manage your expectations that you will be required to do that. Okay, if you don't do it, I think it looks poor, to be honest. It doesn't really set a good impression. However, there will also be a chat box function. So for whatever reason, if your mic's or your camera's not working, or if they want to send you a link or anything like that, there will be a chat box function as well too. So also remember, it's 10 minutes long. 10 minutes can feel like a lifetime if you're not prepared, but also can go very quickly if there's a lot of information you want to get from that employer as well too. With the group sessions, it'll be a bit more like a webinar, so sort of what we're doing here today. So again, there'll be chat box function, but you might not necessarily be required to put your camera on as well too. So just wanted to kind of let you know that that's what the setup is like. Okay, it's different, and it's important to know that. So that means that we're talking here about making a good impression at the fair. If you've gone in and your first one you had no idea what was going to look like, at least now you have an idea of what that's going to actually be, and you can kind of tick that one off the list. Okay. So preparation, you'll be required to engage with the employer and do your research, okay? So when attending networking events, I'm calling it a networking event, but it's a recruitment event as well too. It's key to know your professional pitch, okay? Now, I'm calling it a professional pitch, which makes it sound quite, formal and everything. But really what I'm talking about there is knowing what you're going to say about yourself. We want you to know how you're going to introduce yourself to an employer, and when you approach them. Obviously, I mean virtually. So when you go into that one-to-one meeting, you want to have some things prepared that you want to be able to say. Now, this is going to be two ways. So there's going to be questions as part of that, but also you want to be able to introduce yourself, say a bit about what you are, what you're looking for, what you're studying, and what you want are looking for from an employer, but also what you have to offer an employer as well too. So think about your experience, think about your key skills, think about what you've learned at your degree so far and how you want to develop that with an employer. Okay. So in the sessions, we strongly advise you book in advance, ensure your camera is on, and remember the introduction is going to be variable. Okay, so you're going to have to take that first step. They'll probably introduce themselves, but you'll have to introduce yourselves to the employer as well too. You can review the employer stand, we're calling it like a stand beforehand, but their profile. So research the roles and prepare questions to ask them. Okay, I would just really urge you to make sure that you're not going in not even knowing who the employer is, not knowing anything about them. Do some research beforehand. Now you're going to find out information from them, that's what you're going to ask them about. But I would also say, you need to have done some level of research in advance. Also prepare how you're going to introduce yourself and make a last impression. Now what I would say to you is when I'm talking about researching the rules and preparing questions, I would also say keep an open mind when you're booking in your sessions as well too. There will be employers that you've heard of. There'll be ones that you'll think I definitely want to go to them too. But if you haven't heard of an employer, or if you look at it and you think, oh, that employer, if they're called something, which is very obviously it maybe doesn't seem like a computing company, say, or a computer student, say it was a computing company, or it didn't seem like a computing company, make sure you still go in and look at what their jobs are, because what you might find is that kind of companies that they still have lots of different sectors within the company and different job roles within the company as well too. So don't just take everything at face value. Go in and look at every single employer that's going to be at that, and look at what every single employer has to offer in terms of jobs, because you might find that there are definitely maybe more opportunities than you maybe first realize, and there could be some things that you look at it initially and think, nah, it's not for me, and you might dismiss it. But I would definitely say make sure that you kind of look at it quite kind of in detail in advance. Okay, So again, when we're talking about making an impression at the fair, think about how you're going to begin your conversation with an employer. And you might want to take a photograph of this one, because I think there's some really kind of nice tips here. What I would say is have pen and paper in front of you, okay? Take notes, that's fine. It's not like an interview where you're going to be put on the spot and you need to be talking all the time. Take some notes, particularly if you're going to lots of different employers as well too, because it's not necessarily, you'll probably get a lot of information, and you want to be able to kind of refer back to this when you actually go and apply for the roles after the fair as well too. So definitely keep notes, put the name for the employer was that you're talking to, the name of who you spoke to, and kind of keep some base notes. Now, don't be sitting and not making eye contact with them because you got your head in your book the whole time, but get the balance right. So yeah, some tips: introduce yourself. So think about what you're studying, what year you're in, prepare and ask questions about the company. So this would require some prior research as well. So start with their profile, maybe look at their website, look at the jobs that they have advertising, look at their social media channels, maybe see if there's anything on there. See if they are doing any other events as part of the fair. They might be doing group talks, they might be doing some things in advance. There's some of their partner organizations are doing things like Instagram Live beforehand. They'll be joining me, so you can all come along and ask us lots of questions. But there'll be other things as well too. They might have other sessions running at different times, even after the fair as well too. Ask them questions about the role. So show an interest, find out what makes this company different to others. It's a two-way thing. They're looking obviously for ideal candidates and people who fit what they're asking for, but you have a choice as well too. You want to find a company that fits what you're looking for in an employer. And that's something there's a lot of talk about recently, and changes from remote working, and after the pandemic, people are changing their attitudes towards employers and work. So although you're kind of maybe starting at the beginning of your career and you need to gain some experience, there'll probably be maybe some things that you'll be looking for in an employer as well too. Find out about the recruitment process. This is a really good opportunity for you as somebody who's going to be applying to these companies to find out about what it is that they're actually looking for. Okay, so whether that is, if there's top tips that they would give you for, say, things to put into your CV or your application form, depending on what it is it just as straightforward as doing that CV and then going in an interview? Or is there going to be something else involved in the recruitment process? Is there an assessment day? Will you have to do tests? Will you have to do like group activities? Will you have to do like different exercises in advance, group exercises or things like that? There's loads of things that particularly bigger employers sometimes require placement students or graduates to do as part of the recruitment process. So ask them if there's anything different or any tips that they would have for somebody going through the recruitment process, anything that you need to know. And again, keep note of those things because you'll be referring back to them maybe in a few weeks or a few months' time. But yeah, I mean, that's a really good chance for you to kind of really get an insider knowledge about what it is they're looking for in their ideal candidates, and you want to make sure you reflect that through your application or through the recruitment process. And find out what kind of thing will make your application stand out and be successful. Particularly if you're dealing with somebody who maybe works in their talent acquisition team or their HR team, they're the people who are going to be reading your applications and selecting you for interview or selecting you as a candidate for the job. So, find out what it is that they're actually looking for. And we've just got a wee note at the bottom of that slide that we're here to help you as well too. So we will be there. There will be some slots on the day of the fair where employability and careers will be there. But remember that you can book appointments with us before or after the fair too, right throughout the year, I suppose. So, take your information from the fair, and if you're going to be applying to a specific role, we're here to support you with those applications as well too. Is there any questions about anything I've said in those slides? Okay, no problem. I'll maybe hang about for a couple of minutes at the end of this if there are any questions as well too, once we finish recording. So a couple of tips as well too, just to remember, because it is a virtual fair, it's a little bit different to maybe physical fairs if you've been to one in the past. Top tip number 1, spend time in your handshake profile. Again, I did another session which was all about handshake profile yesterday, and the importance of your handshake profile. These events are all being facilitated through Handshake, and so employers will be looking at your Handshake profile, or a very strong chance they will look at your Handshake profile. This will often maybe be the first thing they will see about you, or one of the first things they'll see about you. You probably will go on and apply for the job separately through an application or CV. However, you still want to make sure that your Handshake profile is at a good standard, as they might message you and have a look at your Handshake profile, because this is your potential employer at the end of the day as well too. Excuse me, sorry. Sorry. So spend time on your Handshake profile. Sorry. So tipped Handshake profile. One of the things as well too that I mentioned in some of the earlier webinars is that you are required to make sure your profile is public in order to book onto some of the sessions. So that's why, again, we're maybe reiterating about the Handshake profile. Also, there is, you know, you will have to make it live for this. You can change it back afterwards, but you know, you will have to make your profile visible for the fair itself and to attend the sessions. Tip 2, have a plan of action for the day. So build your schedule. Like I said, there are lots available now, and I would urge you, even make a short list of the employers you want to talk to. If they have sessions in there now, book them. Some of them will continue to add them this week and right up until the fair, but I wouldn't wait until the day of the fair to book your sessions. I would do it now. Tip 3, test your tech and have a neutral background. Obviously it's kind of built into Handshake, so make sure that you are able to make your camera, give your permissions for camera and microphone in advance if you can. It'll usually depend on your browser. Chrome is what I use. It tends to work the best. But obviously you're kind of a bit limited and kind of doing that until you book into a session. Neutral background, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have a plain background. That's not what I mean. What I mean is make sure that it's there's no distractions. There's nothing you wouldn't want your employer to see in the background. And I would say, if you're at home or if you're on campus, try to have it nice and quiet, okay? Where you're not going to have any distractions or be disturbed. And I was saying this yesterday, I think I've had a few kind of appointments with me where students were doing them virtually, and students have been in kind of not really ideal places. They've been maybe on public transport, or they've kind of been on their phone, and the phone's okay, I suppose, but it's just, it hasn't, it distracts from the conversation that you're trying to have. Tip 4, draft your professional pitch to employers. So whether it's your professional pitch or whether it's just kind of notes that you're going to have about questions you're going to ask, have something prepared that you're going to be able to talk about in case you get nervous on the day and you kind of can't think of things to ask them. Tip 5, get in the right mindset for a careers fair. So remember what it is and what your goal is for your day at the fair as well too. Tip 6, maintain a high standard of professional communication. Now, remember to kind of articulate yourself well. Remember that, again, this is your potential employer that you're talking to. It's not an interview, so it's not as formal as that, but I would still be treating it as a professional, formal kind of meeting, okay? On the day of fair, dress professionally. Again, you don't necessarily need to be wearing a suit or anything like that, but again, treat it kind of in a professional, formal way. Smart casual. You don't maybe want to be sitting there in your pajamas, your dressing gown. Find a quiet spot and a neutral background. Arrive on time for sessions and complete the session. Okay, so make sure you actually go there. If you book in a session and you don't attend, or you book a session and you're not going to be attending, then cancel it. Give that opportunity for somebody else. There's only a certain amount of sessions that any employer can run, especially if they only have one representative. It's only running from 1 to 5 o'clock, so that's only a certain amount of things, and we have thousands of students. So, there will be demand for some of these. So if you're not going to attend, then make sure to cancel it and give the opportunity to somebody else. Maintain eye contact and practice active listening. So try to replicate good body language that you would if you met somebody face to face, okay? I know it's a bit false when you're across the camera, but try not to look away or seem distracted. I've said there about taking notes, that's fine, but try to engage with them, and things like eye contact actually listening to what they say. And it's one thing having your questions prepared, but if you don't listen to the answers, you're not getting any kind of good out of that. And react to their answers too, ask them follow-up questions, all that kind of thing. And there's the next one, number 5, ask questions. Ask, based on what they tell you, keep the conversation going. And generally, we want you to kind of come across as confident and articulate yourself well, okay? We don't want you to kind of show that kind of poor body language that shows you're nervous or, slouching and things like that. We want you to kind of come across as confident and articulate, because you guys have so much to offer these employers, and they're there because they want to meet you, because you are the kind of future of their companies and they have things to sell to you. So you want to kind of show that we have, that you're their ideal candidate as well too. So a couple of final things, get to know, handshake, and virtual fair. So, hopefully for a lot of you, you're fairly kind of getting to know handshake at this point now. We've been kind of going on about it for quite a while since we got it last year. But if it's new to you this year, hopefully you kind of familiarize yourself with the platform in advance of next week, making sure you complete your profile and making it visible. And start looking and exploring the jobs. So whether that's through jobs that are as part of the fair or separate jobs, start going on, especially if you're looking on for some of the graduate and placement roles that are on there already. See who's hiring and follow employers. This is a really important point. You can follow each employer. So if there's a particular employer that you know that you want to hear about their opportunities, or you know that you really kind of strive to kind of work at that particular company, I would really encourage you to follow the employer. If you follow them on Handshake, it means you get notifications if they add any jobs which kind of fit in with your profile and your filters that you have on. You'll also get notifications if they are running any events, or if they're attending any of our events, such as the fair as well too. It's a really easy way to make sure that you don't miss out on opportunities, and I would really recommend that you do that. And probably, you can follow as many employers as you like, but you might want to be kind of selective as well too, because you're more likely to pick up maybe some of the emails and stuff then. Making sure you register, that's the first thing you need to do if you haven't already. Making sure that your CV is up to date as well too. You want to finalise it. There'll be some closing dates which are coming up soon. So you want to make sure that after the fair you're ready to get moving with some of those kind of early closing dates. Again, researching the employer, and there's no need to wait in line. So you're scheduling your sessions in advance that you're interested in. Make sure you follow that employer, and that way you'll be alerted when they add new jobs and events to Handshake. So before the date, you need to have a good profile. Your CVs can be added to your profile as well too. So if you want to add your CV or any other documents such as a cover letter, transcripts, you can do that on Handshake. And remember, employers potentially might message you beforehand. I have an account on Handshake, and it's probably not clear from the account that I work at the university. So mine's like a dummy account. There's been other fairs in the past where lots of employers have messaged me in advance of the fairs, asking me to come along. They've obviously looked at my profile. They said that I fit in with what they're looking for. So it potentially could happen to you as well too. It's a great way to kind of get aware of jobs, kind of make that first initial contact as well too. So again, if you are messaging an employer, keep it formal, keep it polite. Remember, it's professional. Even though it's done through a message as opposed to an email, still keep it nice and formal, okay? On the day, we'll have the 30-minute group meetings, okay? So you might want to have a bit of a combination between group meetings and one-to-one meetings, which last 10 minutes. What I will say is just think about your schedule as well too. If you are kind of have a jam-packed schedule, that's great. That's whatever you want to do. But you want to think to yourself, realistically on the day, will you need a comfort break? Will you be tired talking for all that time? Do you need to kind of, maybe if you're having a 10-minute session, do you want to have a 10-minute break between the next one? Do you want to have time to kind of write some notes or follow up on it? Just think about, you know yourself what you are not capable of, but you know yourself of what you, just thinking about kind of jumping from one to the other. If you need to have a break, make sure you kind of schedule in a bit of a break throughout that as well too. And follow-up, employers can message students who attend a virtual session as well too. So you might get some messages from after the day as well too. So guys, that's really it for this session. A couple of next steps is activating your Handshake account and start completing your profile if you haven't done so already. Make sure to register and attend the fair, and also check out the skills boosting sessions. I put on the web page there in the chat box. So you can go to that web page and browse through the different sessions and book onto them. Explore some of the employers' virtual stands or their profiles basically, and begin booking your slots to schedule your day. And this is the last of our Prepare for the Fair sessions live, but you can go back on and watch them on YouTube. And YouTube is Careers at Ulster, so all one word, and it's AT as opposed to the at symbol. Okay. For any of you guys that are students, you can book in with myself or one of my colleagues, and you can do that through Join Handshake /appointments/new, or you can go to the Career Centre on Handshake and you can navigate your way to the appointments there. We'll have plenty of appointments in the lead up, and also there'll be lots of appointments right throughout the year, obviously after the fair as well too, that you can book into. But thank you very much for attending today's session. I hope you found it useful, and best of luck at the fair next